Hello, I'm Rebecca Jane and welcome to Midlands at Home. On this week's show we'll be taking a look at what's on the market, talking open houses and what that means, plus we'll be finding out what the most expensive house that sold in the West Midlands this year looks like. Intrigued? We'll find out more a little bit later on. My guest today is Will Marshall-Murray from Fine & Country. Will, welcome to Big Centre. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure. Thank you.
My goodness me, you cover a lot of the region of Big Centre, don't you?
Yeah, so we do cover the West Midlands county. We also cover the whole of Warwickshire, whole of Worcestershire. But my remit really is to cover all around Birmingham. So that includes Sutton Coldfield, it includes Solihull, Bromsgrove, Stourbridge, Walsall, Wolverhampton. So, yep, it's a big patch.
That's a huge patch. And also, I suppose, really varied. The properties that you must see come onto your books all the time must really vary from different regions, different styles.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do sell a lot of old Victorian style property, very sort of grand type property, all the way through to brand new bespoke new builds and everything in between really. So there's Georgian properties, Regency. We've got 500-year-old cottages on the books as well. So, yeah, right across the spectrum.
And we are going to take a look at some brilliant properties today. We have selected 3 properties that have caught our eye, haven't we? And the one, this is a really interesting place, actually. It's called Westwood House. It's Westwood Park in Droitwich. It's a 2-bed, it's got 2 receptions, 2 bathrooms. Now, it's a manor house, isn't it, which you can see here. Huge, amazing property. Loads of land, glorious views all the way around. And this house is actually divided into lots of apartments, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then on the back are cottages, which used to be for the workers. Back in the day, the workers used to go off the back, and you've got these cottages. Now, you had a property on your books, didn't you, from
Yeah, so we were marketing one of the apartments in the actual, in one of the wings of the house, and just the feedback was, the views were unbelievable there.
Panoramic.
Absolutely spectacular. The approach to the property was unbelievable. It's a huge, long private driveway that takes you up there. But yeah, the history associated with the place is fantastic, and obviously Droitwich is it's a popular area. There's a lot going on. I think a lot of people see Worcestershire as kind of one of the untapped areas at the moment, somewhere it's got a lot to offer, but it's not maybe as popular yet as other places, but it will be.
Yeah, well, you've got the access to the motorway, haven't you, right on the M5, Droitwich being right by Wychbold, so you can get straight onto the motorway.
Absolutely.
And yet 5 minutes away, and there you are with these amazing views. And I think it's lovely when you've got the history. So this one is it's a 2-bed cottage. It's on the market for $325,000, and it's something really special. So that's one that we picked. Next one, talking about renovations, which we were a little bit earlier on actually. This one here in Henley Drive in Droitwich, asking price is $230,000. It's a 2-bed house, but it's also got planning permission, hasn't it?
Yes.
For an extension, a separate property actually, 2-bed property.
Yeah, so I think one of the key things about this one is it probably demonstrates how to generate value out of a property at the moment. There's a lot of people who refurbish houses with a view to make a profit, but the margins are so tight really on doing that now, partly because I think a lot of people are doing them. It's become very popular, that the only real way to add real value to a house is to increase its size, to increase the square footage on a property. So I'd imagine somewhere like this, you probably be sort of achieving around about £200 per square foot, and if you think to build it, it's going to be about £100 per square foot.
Yeah.
You can immediately see where the value comes in.
And do you think you've got to maybe buy right in the first place? Because suppose if you buy at the right price and then do that, so suppose when you look asking price there, £230,000, would you say it's always quite good to speak to the agent, see how long it's been on?
Absolutely, and the best advice would be to just see as many properties as possible. Never go in for that first one. Compare them. Really get to know the area. Get inside them. Once you find somewhere though, move quick, because the best houses will go.
Really?
And they move quickly.
And renovations, they are quite popular, aren't they? So that's certainly one to consider. And then the other one that we've selected, this is actually, it's a new instruction, and it's Barnscroft Way. It's a bungalow. We were talking a bit about bungalows a little bit earlier on. My parents actually downsized years ago to the country into a bungalow, and they would never have stairs again. So they absolutely love it, and the children love it because they just run around in circles. But huge benefits of getting a bungalow, isn't there?
Yeah, and bungalows, you don't get many come to the market, and when they do, they are generally pretty popular, just for the reasons you're talking about. And it's downsizing is one of the hardest things for people to do. You've lived in your family home for 20, 30 years. You've got all your memories there. You're attached to the house. And I think one of the, as well as all the emotional side of it, the practical side, you have got to move somewhere smaller, more manageable, smaller gardens, possibly smaller rooms, and it's so difficult for people to downsize, and it could take people years to, actually get to that point where they're ready for it. So it's interesting downsizing, and that's again where you need a good agent, someone who can sort of hold your hand all the way through that process. Yeah,
that's it. And this one's on for £210,000, so that's an interesting one. And we are going to be talking about the most expensive house a little bit later on. Another way of selling your house, we've got the typical way that we've seen here, but is with an open house. Can you explain a little bit about what an open house is? So
an open house is kind of a tactic that's been taken from America, Australia, South Africa. They tend to sell most of their houses that way. Now, but what they will do, they will launch a house to the market. They will invite everybody to come in, on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon. And the benefit, there's loads of benefits basically. If you think for the owner's point of view, all the viewings are taking place within the space of 2 hours.
How lovely.
They can, go to the pub, go for a meal, whatever, and it's done. You've got your viewings done. And
that's a big plus, isn't it?
And typically, you can have 20, 30, 40 people turn up to an open house. And if you think of the amount of time that would take if you're marketing it in the normal fashion, that's an hour of time, 20 hours of your time where you've got to go out and come back, get your house ready. We were talking about home staging earlier on and how important that is. Absolutely crucial to get your house looking as good as you possibly can for every viewing that you do. And with an open house, you only have to stage it once.
And it's done.
It works brilliantly for families. Obviously, if you've got kids, tidying up for your house for that viewing is probably one of the most annoying things that you have to do.
I know that because just selling our house at the moment, just every time the agent would go, we've got a view, and I think, oh no, kids' toys, put them away, close wardrobes quickly, and
absolutely,
it can be a bit of a pain. So I suppose all in one day is a huge benefit, isn't it?
Definitely, and as well as the convenience for the owner, we firmly believe that you get a better price by selling it at an open house as well.
Is that because the excitement, you get all these people thinking, oh, well, they're quite keen, and you get that kind of buzz? And
that's exactly it. So, if you've got 20, 30 people there, you're going to generate 3, 4, 5 offers maybe.
Brilliant.
If you think that those people offering, they will have seen other people at that house who want that house, and things generally become more valuable, I think, when other people want it. And it's tapping into that sort of psychology. I mean, in Australia, they actually have the auction on the drive straight after the open house, and
that's amazing.
We're not quite there yet, and I don't think we'll probably ever do that in this country. But on a Monday morning, that phone rings. People want that house. So
is it by a phone call, or is it sort of sealed bids? If people put it in an envelope and
it depends. I mean, sealed bids is the traditional way of doing it, but now emails, people email in, and so on. We tend to make it fair. We have a best and final system, so we ask people to put their best and final offer in, and the best offer usually gets it. And that is another advantage, because the vendor may have somebody who's offered slightly more, but somebody who's offered slightly less is in a better position to move, so it can match their timeframes. It really puts the power, in a way, into the person who's selling the house. It gives them the power to make the decision that's right for them.
So you find that this is actually quite a popular, way of selling, and that's what your company, particularly does quite a lot of.
Yeah, we recommend that every house is sold this way, because you've got your hot point for a house, when it's been on the market between around about that 4-week mark. That's when you want to sell that house, because it's come to the market.
It's fresh and
absolutely, and you've got the most interest, and that's the point you want to get the offers in. And using an open house is the way to do that.
So what about prices when it comes to open houses? Does that vary?
Well, you've got to be quite aggressive with the pricing on an open house. The more aggressive, the better, really, because you want to be attracting buyers in. You want to make this look like an attractive proposal. you've got to rely on the skill of the agent to be able to negotiate those offers up. For example, we did an open house not too long ago, offers over 600,000, and we negotiated up to 745, so it's 145,000 over the actual asking price on the open house. Reason being, unique house, the person absolutely fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So,
Getting that excitement going, isn't it? Well, talking about excitement,
Absolutely.
coming up after the break, don't go anywhere, because we are looking at the most expensive house that sold in the West Midlands this year. Also looking at some brand new luxury homes, so don't go anywhere. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back. It is now finally time to show you what the most expensive house in the West Midlands looks like. Will from Fine & Country, you're still with us. Will, this
Thanks.
was one of your homes.
yeah, so it came on with us last year. We'd marketed it around about the 2.5 million mark.
Wow.
And obviously, there's only a handful of buyers out there at that sort of level, which is, you need to be attracting people from, nationally,
Yeah.
your typical your London buyers, international buyers, and
And do you do that with your marketing, I suppose?
yeah, so our whole marketing is geared up to reach out as far as possible, and which you absolutely you have to do for this end of the market.
What was the property called and where was it?
So
Where was it?
so it's called Old Durham. It was named. It was in Edgbaston,
Yeah.
on Richmond Hill Road, which is one of the nicest roads in Edgbaston. And it was a huge, and it was called a gentleman's residence.
Oh, was
And
it? Very nice.
Yeah, I don't think they're called gentlemen's residences anymore. But it was just a huge house. The previous owner had spent so much money on refurbing and renovating the house, and it's absolutely, it was amazing inside. Sat on a plot about an acre, which sits smack bang in the middle of Edgbaston is fantastic.
I suppose you get used to these properties, but for a lot of us, we look at these properties and we think, oh my goodness, it's a different world.
Yeah, and you know what? You never get used to them because they're so unique and they're so individual, and you can walk through a front door and you just do not know what you're going to expect from a house. And I remember, and we always take our whole team to go and see these houses, so because everyone needs to see the house if they're going to be selling it. And it was like one room we thought it was done, and then there'd be another sort of wing to the house, and it was amazing. And we found two fantastic buyers for the house.
Did it take long? When you think of a price like that, did it take long to sell the property?
Yeah, and anything over 2 million, they're not gonna sell in a month.
Fly out.
Yeah, I thought it was on the market for a good 6 months at least before we got there. But we got there, got the buyer.
Was it an open house that you did for that? Was it a different thing?
No, it was more of a traditional marketing strategy with this one. Put it on we agreed a figure with the owner, and we marketed it at that figure for a while. Open houses do work with the top end of the market, absolutely, but at the end of the day, it's the owner's choice how they want to do it. I think on this one, because it was particularly amazing, I don't think he liked the idea of people just coming in for a nosy.
It's kind of on its own, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and you have to do very sort of strict qualification of the buyers, who are going to come round and have a look.
Yeah.
And I think that was more in his mind on this one. So.
Yeah. Well, it was lovely to see it at a luxury home. And talking about luxury, there's a developer at the moment, Romford Homes, amazing homes.
Yeah.
Talk us through a little bit about Romford Homes and what they offer.
And I think they've identified a bit of a gap in the market in the West Midlands, and they're very bespoke houses, very luxury, fantastic build, great quality, great service, and there's not really many, if any, other builders doing that at the moment. And the properties they're producing, they're selling off plan. And when you're talking about houses $1.5 million plus, selling before any marketing happens, you can really see that they have found a niche, and they are absolutely fantastic at that niche. And what works well for us is they cover the same area that we cover. So they've got places in Sutton Coldfield, in Little Aston coming up, in Lapworth, which is obviously, probably, well, apparently it's got more millionaires per square mile than anywhere else in the country other than London, Lapworth, and Central Solihull, more coming up. So yeah, but just the build quality is amazing. And
I was going to say, that's what you're looking for, really, aren't you? You are looking for build quality, nice finishes, fixtures and fittings. I mean, whatever sort of new build that you're looking for, I think it is important to look at build quality, isn't it?
Absolutely, but they do that in abundance. But I think one of their main differentiators now is their attention to customer service. It's where some of the builders may have gone, sort of more down volume routes.
Yeah.
They've kept the focus on bespoking the house, so they want people in an early stage so they can help design the houses.
Wow, brilliant!
And the end products are fantastic, and at the end they've got a client who has almost designed the house with them, with the architect, and
sort of hassle-free in some ways, as opposed to when you build your own and you've got to, you're going through the whole process. You've got somebody to hold your hand and to kind of lead the way, and then you've got that personal finish, haven't you?
Absolutely. Tailored to how you want it, and they've got fantastic kitchen suppliers, they've got fantastic bathroom suppliers. So yeah, it's a great product, and I think we'll be seeing a lot more of them over the next few years, because there is just a massive demand out there, and it'd be nice to see them beat this record this year, which I think they might well do. So we'll see.
But it's certainly lovely to look into the sort of the luxury top end of the market. Talking about marketing, we've looked at obviously open houses. Another thing that actually you guys do, which I think is great, is you do vendor videos where you go around and you film the property, but you actually also introduce the vendors. And that's a really personal service.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think with these sort of houses, and we're selling a lot of country houses, we're selling traditional houses, and there's a certain lifestyle element that goes with that. So we've got houses that have got businesses running, whether it's a cattery or whether it's a bed and breakfast. And so on. It's, because they're so unique, to really get the the flavour of the house out, doing these vendor interviews we found is just fantastic. And we did a little stat on these vendor interviews, and I think we've sold on the houses where we've done these interviews, we've sold 90% of them.
Wow.
So whether that's because of the vendor interview or not, it might be difficult to say.
Again, it's another personal side, isn't it? I think it's really nice.
Absolutely, and I think it helps people connect with a house as well, especially if they're coming in from outside of the area, which a lot of our buyers do. They do come in from outside the West Midlands and Warwickshire and Worcestershire. If they can see somebody that they can identify with talking passionately about that house, it just it draws them in.
That's it. And I think if a house is, you've got that love inside it, somebody loves their home and it is sort of passed on. And I bet you meet some really interesting characters, don't you?
Yeah. And so some of our vendors, are well, most of them are fantastic, to be fair. And so some of them are actually willing to give some of their sort of more personal stories on some of these videos, and we'll probably be releasing some of those videos at some point in a not too distant future. And you can see some of them now with the properties we're marketing. But it's a great tool. We love it. Vendors love it. And it's just a real way to get into the lifestyle that surrounds the property.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you're wondering what this is, take a little look. We'll show you one of the vendors' videos at the moment on Fine & Country.
Harbury is an amazing village. It's just off the M40, but over a hill, so you can't hear the traffic. It has a wine shop, its own doctor's surgery, 2 supermarkets, a chemist, a library and cafe, a post office, a greengrocer, a hairdresser, 4 pubs, and a great primary school. There are also masses of clubs and societies if you want to get involved. Much of it is a conservation area. And in the heart of the village is the manor house. In the drive and courtyard you can park around 40 cars if you want big parties. If you don't, just close the gates and you are in your own private world. There is a tennis court, a family-friendly garden, and an indoor swimming pool. Inside, the rooms are high and spacious. There are 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, and we have just opened up an old cellar. As an old house, it is cool in summer and snug in winter. And although parts of it may go back some 500 years, the facilities and utilities have been kept right up to date. For us, it has been the most wonderful family house to bring up our 3 children and then to welcome our 6 grandchildren. We have lived here for over 20 years. We never thought we would be here as long as this, but it has been such a happy house.
Amazing video, I have to say. Very clever marketing. Now, how important is marketing with properties?
Well, it's essential, absolutely essential, and I think you know, we do kind of see ourselves as marketeers as much as estate agents, because you know, you're dealing with somebody's probably their most valuable asset, and if you're selling something that expensive, it needs to have the best marketing possible, and professional photography, drone pictures, yeah, it has to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Join us next time for loads more properties on Midlands at Home.